everybody, this is Hunter with the Indoor Golf Shop, and today we are going to be going over some troubleshooting for our SkyTrak launch monitors. SkyTrak is definitely our highest sold unit, which means we get the most questions for SkyTrak. So we're going to go over a lot of the basic ones that we get on a daily, weekly basis that are typically very easy fixes for people to get everything back up and running. I'll start with number one. This is the biggest reason I see people have a lot of misreads on their SkyTrak. So as we can see with our case right here, I've got all of our legs put in, which essentially raises my SkyTrak about a half an inch. So if I have a setup where my SkyTrak is off the mat, that is the only time that you actually need these legs. If you are hitting on the same surface that your SkyTrak is on, these legs need to be completely removed. What happens is that laser that's projected, and I can kind of show you guys here, whenever these legs are in, we can see our little red dot right here. Well, the SkyTrak zone that it picks the ball up in is still right here. All that's happening is we're raising this up too high, which is forcing my laser to move farther away, which means most customers are hitting outside of the actual hitting zone that's meant for the SkyTrak. So once you remove those, our laser will then move back to the proper spot, which will get us from, what I hear is usually you're at about 40% reads, 60% no reads. That should get everything back to about 95% reads. You know, always expect the occasional misread, but it should address most of those issues. All right, guys. So our next tip is going to be about the alignment. So SkyTrak does have an alignment tool, which I highly recommend you using, but sometimes it'll still be a little bit off. So in our particular situation with this SkyTrak, my SkyTrak actually sits about 3 degrees open to the right for me to read a perfectly straight shot. So usually what I recommend is after you've done the alignment function, go ahead, grab yourself some type of wedge, something you know that you can hit 10 yards nice and straight, and go ahead and test a few shots out. You know, if you're pulling the ball to the left and it's still showing something dead straight, we know we've got a little bit of work to do. But it will vary between different customers. Some people, SkyTraks will be perfectly dead center, 0 degrees. Some people can be all the way up to about 5 degrees open, 5 degrees closed for it to read a straight shot. So you will have a little bit of experimenting to do there. Probably the next biggest one I see is people SkyTraks not wanting to connect, or essentially they go open up their Wi-Fi settings, they see their internet, they see their neighbor's internet, but they don't see anything that says SkyTrak. So this is a common issue just because they do operate over Wi-Fi. So there's a couple things that you can do. First thing is, on the bottom of your SkyTrak, I can show you a little bit here. I went ahead and removed the cap that's under the middle of my SkyTrak, so I have access to this button without having to take it out. If you look in this hole and it's still black, you're gonna have to take the SkyTrak out. But inside this, this threaded hole is a microscopic button that will actually hard reset your SkyTrak. That's the first step. What you do, you get a little clothespin, you get a little thumbtack, you stick it in there while the unit's on, you hold it down for 10 seconds, and what you'll see is these lights will go from green to they describe it as an amber color. Once you see that, you release the button, and now you're good to go. I will say about 90% of the time, that's all I have to do to get my SkyTrak to reconnect, or at least to populate inside the Wi-Fi again. So another big thing that I see with SkyTrak, no colored golf balls, none at all. It has to be white and it has to have a logo. I actually have seen that any of those patterned golf balls, so the Callaway soccer balls, TaylorMade Pix balls, those are all fantastic. It just gives the SkyTrak more options to track the spin of the golf ball. It's one of the main reasons why in the instructions it says if you've got a Titleist ball, you set it down and you face that logo towards the SkyTrak. It is trying to track the spin on the physical logo. So if we're hitting just a plain white ball that you've used for a while, there's no black left from a logo, you're probably gonna have a hard time with it picking up consistently. Next thing, and these are my least favorite reasons why your SkyTrak won't pick up the ball, white shoes and a white background. We do play in white shoes all the time. I've noticed that that does not seem to affect it nearly as much as having a full-blown white background behind you. And what I mean when I say that is if I'm sitting here addressing the ball, white wall directly behind me. Essentially, the ball just can disappear inside it if it's a really bright room or if the light level's not controlled very well. Or potentially you've got, it's just too washed out of a background behind you. So we always encourage people, either make that wall black, get yourself a curtain you can throw back there. Really anything that's not white will typically help the SkyTrak pick everything up a bit easier. So the final thing we're gonna address today is a lot of confusion between direct mode, USB mode, network mode, and making all that work with the WGT that comes with most people's SkyTraks. So what you'll notice is whenever you connect your SkyTrak the first time, is then you go into your Wi-Fi, select the SkyTrak, go back into the SkyTrak app, it should connect in direct mode as long as everything is going correct. Now, I see a lot of people that think that's it, they're done, everything should be working properly. The big issue is if it's in direct mode, we have no internet connection, which means we cannot open up any software aside from E6 Connect. But if we're wanting to play WGT, then you actually have to hit the little green icon that says direct mode. When you click that, you'll see three options that pop up. First one is direct, second one is network mode, and the third one is USB. If you are using an iPad, you can just ignore the USB. PC, obviously, you can plug it straight in and get rid of any of the network or direct connection. But to get it into network mode, you just select that little button. We'll select network. What you'll see is a population of all the available Wi-Fi networks. You'll want to select your Wi-Fi network, enter your password in, hit go. Usually it takes a couple seconds. I want to say it's around a minute before it'll actually connect all the way. But once you see these lights change, that's when you can go ahead, go back to the home screen, and you'll see that little green button go from direct mode to network mode. All that means is that I'm connected to the SkyTrak while my Wi-Fi is moving through the SkyTrak. But it allows me to connect to both of them at the same time. That step is 100% crucial to playing almost any third-party software. Really, the only exception is if you're on a computer and you're using USB mode, or if you are playing E6 Connect offline. Those are the only two times you do not need to put it in direct mode to play third-party softwares. Once you have established the network mode connection, that's when you are actually able to close your entire SkyTrak app out and proceed to open WGT. It's another issue I see is a lot of people will leave the SkyTrak app open and try to connect to WGT. While using the iPad and even the computer, these things can only talk to one application at a time. So if SkyTrak's open, WGT won't work. Typically, you'll see one of them showing ball flight, but just not both at the same time. It does not make a ton of sense, but like I said, once you're in network mode, close out the entire SkyTrak app, and then we're going over to WGT. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Definitely stay tuned for our next simulator videos. We're going to be coming out with a lot more instructional videos about these projectors and just getting into a lot more detail on all the different things that are coming out in the simulator industry. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.